Life in Strasbourg, a part of the Holy Roman Empire, was going on as usual. Farmers were tending to their crops, merchants were selling their goods, and the townspeople were busy with their daily activities. But suddenly, something strange happened. A woman stepped out of her house and without any warning, without any music or melody, she started to dance. This dancing, which began with one woman, quickly spread across the entire town of Strasbourg. Within a month, nearly 400 people were caught up in the dance craze. This is one of history's most bizarre and mysterious events, the dancing plague of 1518. The story starts in Strasbourg, a city located near the German border in northeastern France, the capital of the Grand Est region and the Alsace department. This city, rich in history since the Roman Empire, is famous for its beautiful Gothic architecture, timber-framed houses, and canals that decorate its historic center. Strasbourg is also a cultural hub with world-class museums, theaters, and a renowned food culture. It is the official center of the European Parliament and the Council of Europe, blending traditional French charm with modern international importance. In 1518, when Strasbourg was still part of the Great Roman Empire, a local woman named Frau Trophea, on an unfortunate day in July, began to dance uncontrollably in the streets without any music. The strange thing was, there was no music playing. She was dancing to her own rhythm and beat. Historians believe that the woman's name could have been something else, but for this video, we'll refer to her as Frau Trophea, the woman who danced without music. Frau Trophea danced for hours, and it was clear that she couldn't stop herself from dancing. Her feet moved up and down, her face showed signs of exhaustion and pain, yet she kept dancing as if some invisible force was making her do it. The dancing continued without pause. She would get tired, take a brief rest, and then start dancing again. Her husband urged her to stop and come home, but she ignored him and kept dancing. There was no sign of joy or a smile on her face as she danced. People watched in shock and fear as Trophea danced through the night. Her feet became bloody, and despite extreme exhaustion, she continued to dance for 6 days before collapsing, only to start dancing again after some rest. The townspeople were amazed. Everyone had countless questions. What had possessed Frau Trophea? Was she cursed? Or had she lost her senses? No one could find the answers to these questions. But as the days passed, the mystery of Trophea's dancing only deepened. Soon, other people in Strasbourg joined in. Following her, more people started to dance. They began to spin and jump quietly, without any music, band, or instruments. By the end of the week, more than 30 people were dancing in the streets, just like Frau Trophea, unable to stop their bodies from moving. Day by day, the number of dancers grew to hundreds. Within 3 weeks, the number of people dancing without music reached 400. This wasn't the joyful dancing we do at festivals or with friends at clubs to the beat of music. The dancers seemed to be in pain and suffering. Their bodies, hands, feet, backs, heads looked like they were being moved by an invisible force, and all this movement left them exhausted. Like Trophea, many would stop dancing due to sheer exhaustion, only to start again after a short rest. Some had their feet bleeding, yet they continued to dance. The town leaders had no idea what was happening. The mysterious dancing that began in July had turned into an epidemic by August. This dancing epidemic had affected around 400 people. With no other explanation, the local doctors blamed it on hot blood. To treat those suffering from the dancing sickness, an unusual solution was proposed. They needed to dance even more. The leaders believed that the affected people could dance the madness out of their bodies and eventually be cured. A large stage was built, and professional dancers were brought in. Musicians were hired, and a big open space was cleared for dancing. In the market square, a large stage was set up with musicians so the dancers could keep going. Volunteers were also there to support those who grew weak. But this plan failed. Instead of solving the problem, it made things worse as more people on the stage started showing the same strange symptoms. The music and rhythm only pushed the dancers further into madness, and they kept dancing until they collapsed. Many dancers fell from exhaustion. Some suffered heart attacks, strokes, or died from complete exhaustion. Some sources claim that up to 15 people died each day, though the records in Strasbourg don't confirm these deaths. When the stage didn't solve the problem, the authorities eventually had to remove it and instructed the affected people to dance privately in their homes. At that time, music and dancing were banned in most areas, except at weddings, and even then, only limited musical instruments were allowed. No other bands or music could be played. So what actually caused this strange event? Even today, historians and scientists are still debating the reasons behind the dancing plague of 1518. Let's look at some popular theories. One possible theory is that the dancers were victims of ergot poisoning. Ergot is a fungus that can grow on bread, and when people come into contact with it, they can start hallucinating. They might believe in things that aren't real and begin to act according to those beliefs. Could the people of Strasbourg have accidentally eaten contaminated bread? Another theory suggests mass hysteria. This is a condition where a group of people start showing the same symptoms or behavior, usually due to extreme mental stress or social influence rather than physical causes. The dancing plague of 1518 could be considered a historical example of mass hysteria. By 1518, Strasbourg was not untouched by hardships. In the early 15th century, the city and surrounding areas faced many difficulties, including the bubonic plague, smallpox, famine, and food shortages. These problems led to widespread malnutrition, hunger, and economic difficulties, which increased the stress and despair of the population. It's possible that under such intense stress, when people saw Trophia dancing uncontrollably, it triggered a chain reaction, leading to irrational behavior like the dancing epidemic. Another theory involves religious beliefs. Some people believe that the epidemic was a form of divine punishment. Many thought that Trophia and the other 400 victims were cursed by Saint Vitus, causing them to suffer from the dancing plague. To help the afflicted, they were made to wear red shoes and hold small crosses in their hands. They were then taken to a sacred shrine of Saint Vitus, where various rituals and prayers were performed. After this, the dancing epidemic began to decrease. By the end of August 1518, the dancing epidemic finally began to fade away. The uncontrollable dancing eventually stopped, and Strasbourg returned to normal, though the scars left by the event remained. But the question still lingers. What really happened in Strasbourg that summer? Was it ergot poisoning, mass hysteria, or something entirely different? We may never fully know the answer, but the dancing plague of 1518 still remains a mysterious reminder of our past. The dancing plague of 1518 is one of history's strangest and most unsettling mysteries. It's a tale of fear, belief, and the fragility of the human mind. If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more mysterious stories on our channel. And remember, history is full of mysteries, and sometimes the strangest stories are the ones that actually happened. Thank you so much for listening. Keep spreading love, keep listening, and keep sharing stories. Until next time, peace out.